Now, there are several issues that I would like to deal with this evening. I don't know if time will allow me or permit me to deal with some of the issues. But I believe that these issues affecting the people of Barbados must be addressed. We have the campaign issue of the Democratic Labour Party, who came to office and promised the people of Barbados that they are going to reduce cost of living. And far from reducing cost of living, they have inflicted policies upon us, the people of Barbados, that has resulted in an increase in cost of living. And that is the problem. They came and they said it was job number 1, job number 2, and job number 3. And what are we faced with today, ladies and gentlemen? A situation where cost of living is spiraling out of control. So much so that is eroding the base wages of workers in Barbados at a time when we ought to be protecting workers in this country. That is what the Democratic Labour Party as a political party has done for you, the people in Barbados. We also have a situation where we have increased taxation. You hear, on the one hand, they criticize us when we were in government and said the worst things about the Barbados Labour Party. And to the point where we were talking about all the taxes and the VAT. And today we have lived almost 3 years after a general election, and we have recognized that the Democratic Labour Party was the one party to come to office and increase VAT. And when you increase VAT, it impacts on every sector of the economy. It hurts the ordinary, it destroys the ordinary man, ladies and gentlemen. It puts a spin to things that you will not want for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, let know your neighbor. And that is what we are faced with. And I say to you that not only have they increased the VAT, they are also about to make changes to the drug service. And that is another matter that we will have to discuss. And they're parading their players on state-owned television, trying to justify whether a generic drug is better than an established brand drug. And they can't explain it to the satisfaction of the people. And you have this confusion about user fees, and they don't know today if they're going to implement it or they're going to increase or abandon their program. You have a situation in this country today where the deficit is out of control. Out of control. We are running current account deficits that will wreak havoc eventually on the people of Barbados. And despite the warnings from the people from within the Barbados Labour Party, we are faced with a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where they have refused to address the issue of the fiscal deficit, of the current account deficit, sorry. We have a situation when they walk the length and breadth of Barbados and said and told everybody that the Barbados Labour Party was engaged in an exercise to set up the country, and that we were putting on debt upon debt at such levels to have caused enormous concern, ladies and gentlemen. And what did we witness? We've now witnessed a situation where the Democratic Labour Party has borrowed more money than the Barbados Labour Party did. But they borrowed the money in perhaps 2 years on to 3 years. But when you look around and you see what has happened, they have borrowed more money than the Barbados Labour Party did in 14 years when we ran the government of this country. And it is going to come back to haunt them. They will not be allowed to escape the fact that they increased the VAT. We are going to challenge them. We are going to remind the people of Barbados that they walk the length and breadth of Barbados, and they said to the people of Barbados that we, the Barbados Labour Party, were selling out the country, and that we were engaging in extraordinary high levels of debt. But we know the story today, ladies and gentlemen. They have borrowed more money in 3 years than we borrowed in 14 years. And when we look back at our record, ladies and gentlemen, we can see, for example, we built the Barbados Hilton. We borrowed, but we built the Barbados Hilton. You can look around, that's one example. When you look around Barbados, you see the road infrastructure.
You see the build-up of capacity that we had to do in this country. So that when we borrowed money, we didn't necessarily borrow money to pay civil servants. We borrowed money to engage in capital expenditure so we can generate foreign exchange, so that we can build additional capacity in the country so that we can sustain our development, ladies and gentlemen, and help the country to grow. And that is what we did. But they would want, and they must be reminded, the Dems must be reminded that despite all the borrowings, they have little or nothing to show. And the same issue that they walk this country and confuse the people of Barbados and lie to them, we are going to deal with them at the appropriate time, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not going to talk about the fact that they've been targeting BLP supporters and sending them home. I'm not going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we had a lot of temporary workers in the system, and those temporary workers, because they believed they were hard during the 14 years of the Barbados Labour Party, that they have decided to send them home. I'm not going to tell you that. But it is a fact. As I canvass in Michael West Central, there are several stories of young persons who would have been engaged in temporary employment. But because they were engaged in temporary employment during the period of the Barbados Labour Party, they are being sent home. And I want the government to deny that. I would like them to deny the fact that they are sending home temporary workers in this country. No wonder unemployment will rise and increase and continue to increase to the high levels, ladies and gentlemen. But we've just come out of an estimates debate. And I must say that we deserve to give the parliamentary party, the Barbados Labour Party, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. They did an extraordinary job under the leadership of the Right Honourable Owen Seymour Harper. I told some people that you only had to look at the front page of the following morning's newspaper to agree or disagree as to who won the debate. But the fact is that a Minister of Finance, in his first presentation of estimates of revenue and expenditure to the Parliament, and he could have been eclipsed by the leader of the opposition on the front page, ladies and gentlemen. So we came out of that debate and we won the debate. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have won it either. Because when you look at the parliamentary party and those who support the parliamentary party, you have extraordinary skill and talent and knowledge within the Barbados Labour Party. And that same talent, ladies and gentlemen, that we've had to introduce back in 1994 when we had to take the country out of the doldrums, we will now have to bring that same extraordinary effort and talent to bring this country out of the economic mess that the Dems have now left us in, ladies and gentlemen. And we have no choice. And our choice must be very clear. And our choice must be to make sure we go and get rid of the Democratic Labour Party at the next election. We have to take Barbados back from the hands of the Democratic Labour Party. And if we don't do it, ladies and gentlemen, this country will go further adrift and we can't afford it. We have a proven record of taking this country out of an economic mess and delivering, ladies and gentlemen. And we will have to do it for love of country on this occasion. But back to the estimates. We will have gone into the estimates debate and they call two heads. They call education, they call agriculture, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't deal with tourism, they didn't deal with international business, they didn't even deal with the social care ministry. They elected to deal with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Education. And I say to you that with so much hardship in this society today, with so much hardship, you would have thought that you would have heard a government outlining a plan to the people, telling them this is what we intend to do over the course of the next financial year in order to ease the hardship in the society, ladies and gentlemen. We thought we would have heard from a government who would have said to the people, we want to tell you how we are going to grow tourism in order to improve the fortunes of ordinary people in this country. We thought we would have heard from a government telling